Hey guys, Lee here again. Today I'm going to break down the top most frequently asked questions that I get all the time with tooth of the arrow broadheads. I'm going to get through it pretty quick so this video isn't too long. Let's get right into it. Question number one that I get all the time is, what is the difference between the crossbow broadheads and the regular broadheads? The truth is nothing. We just favor the 1-inch V series for crossbow guys because they're the ones that fly better at high speed. They're more compact, they're more weight centered. Having the venting in the blades helps prevent against wind planing. So generally we push people with crossbows towards the 1-inch V series. The one that I would stay away from with crossbows is the XLS series. That is really geared towards your compound shooters who have their bows really well tuned. Question number two is, do they work well with crossbows? Absolutely. In an entire year, I might get 1 or 2 complaints from anyone that they're not flying good with crossbows. And we sell hundreds and hundreds of packs to guys with crossbows. They fly really well if you stick to the right ones. The complaints that I do get from people that say these broadheads aren't flying good with their crossbows is just because they've got the wrong model. Sometimes you'll get a guy shooting the XLS series 100 grain out of a crossbow shooting 460 feet per second, and that's just not going to work. Stick with the heads that are designed for those high speeds and you will do great. Third most frequently asked question I get is, do they actually fly like field points? The answer is yes, but the but comes down to your bow and your arrow setup. You have to have your stuff in check. If you just grabbed your bow and it hasn't been tuned in years and you have any old random arrows, you have no idea if they're spine matched, or you haven't put any real effort into making sure that your arrows are properly spined for their bow, nothing is going to fly like field points except for field points. Even some mechanicals might not fly with your field points if your bow is that out of whack. So as far as our broadheads go in the fixed blade world, they are the most forgiving fixed blade broadhead on the market to poor setup or poor arrow tuning. That being said, if your setup is just completely out of spec, nothing is going to fly like a field point. The fourth question, how to sharpen these broadheads. So our 4 blades, it's really simple. We make 2 sharpeners. We have a 320 grit and we have a 600 grit. It is set at the right blade angle so you can't mess it up. You just add some honing oil. We have a video right here on how to sharpen your broadheads using our 4-blade sharpener, and those sharpeners are designed for any 4-blade in our lineup. For the 2-blade single bevel, any flat stone sharpening kit will work. There's one on Amazon that I really like. I have a link below in the description to the exact one that I have. It works really good. They're easy to sharpen. I just sharpen them freehand. Some people are going to hate that I do that, but 95% of you are going to be fine with that. I get them plenty sharp enough for my purposes. They're super easy to sharpen because they have such a wide blade. Really easy to do. The next question I get all the time, what is the difference between our sharpeners? So we have a 320 grit and a 600 grit for the 4-blade sharpeners. The 320 grit is designed to bring your 4-blade broadheads back to factory sharpness, and that's going to be good for 95+% of people. There are always people who want to take them that extra step, which is what the 600 grit is for. So if you're going to buy one sharpener, I would just get the 320 because you can bring them back to factory after shooting them at targets or after hunting with them. And if you want to go a step beyond, use the 600 and it'll make them even more razor sharp. The next one I get is, are our broadheads sharp out of the pack? Absolutely. Simple question. Like I said, if you want to take them even further, you can buy a 600 grit sharpener with your broadheads and make them even sharper than they come out of the package. But yes, they are absolutely sharp enough to hunt with out of the pack. The 7th one I get all the time is, which model is best for me? Well, this is a big question. The first thing we ask is, are you shooting crossbow or are you shooting compound or traditional? We've already covered the crossbow stuff at the beginning of this video. If you're shooting compound, the next question is, how fast is your compound? If you're shooting a really fast, 290 feet per second plus compound bow, you're going to want to stick with one of the smaller models, the 1-inch. If you're shooting slower, then you can kind of shoot whatever you want. The next question to ask would be, how well is your bow set up and are your arrows tuned? Do you know that your setup is perfect, or are you a little bit iffy on it? If you're a little iffy on it, go with a vented broadhead. If you know that your setup is perfect, you're going to be able to shoot any broadhead in our lineup without issues at all. I have my setup really well dialed, and I can take any of our broadheads, whether it's the single bevel, the 1-inch V series, the XLS series, as long as they're the same weight, and I can shoot them with my field points out to 80 yards, no problem. And the 2-blade single bevel, we say it is the broadhead for everybody. There is not a setup that the 2-blade single bevel is not perfect for, and we've actually been hearing feedback from customers is that they actually fly better than the 4-blade. That would just mean that they're more forgiving to maybe a little bit of an out of spine setup, or your bow hasn't been tuned in a while. So that's a really good thing. So when in doubt, you cannot go wrong with the new 2-blade single bevel.